We begin this morning with Dr. Josh Lofton, our OSU Extension cropping system specialist. And Josh, kind of that summer crop harvest winding down, and we're kind of looking ahead to the next season. But let's start with those double crops and how things are going in Oklahoma.
Yeah, so most of our crops, at least our summer crops, are or have been harvested for the most part. I think a lot of growers are probably still working through our double crop or those crops planted behind that wheat crop, and we're still kind of getting initial indication on how those are going. Mostly our summer crops this well have done very well this year. I think we had corn in places that we don't normally have corn. We have sorghum and soybean in places we don't normally have it. And so overall, maybe in season growers thought that we could achieve a little bit higher, but I think compared to the last 2 or 3 years, I think we should be quite happy with the yields we've gotten. As the double crops are starting to come in, our soybean, our sorghum, even some of our corn has been harvested double crop. I think we are happy, cautiously happy with some of those yields. Some of our double crop plots have yielded fantastic compared to the full season. So if growers still have a lot and have a lot out there, I think they have a lot to be happy about this year.
Let's talk about the rain. We got some really good rain last week, and now we're seeing some cooler temperatures. Is that impacting kind of what's left?
Yeah, so it was a double-edged sword. We kind of needed the rain for our wheat crop and our canola crop and everything to kind of get up and get moving before the temperatures got too cold, but it also, anything that was still holding on with those warmer temperatures, we did see a little flush of green. The good thing is shortly thereafter, we got a pretty good killing frost for most of the state. And so I think that frost has kind of finished up what has kind of been hanging around. And it's good because we, especially in this time of year where our humidity is really high and our temperatures aren't really high, we kind of need a good long time to allow these crops to dry down so we can take our combines through. And so finishing those off and allowing maybe some of these windy days with still a little bit of heat to them allows us to get those combines in the field just a little bit earlier so we aren't getting a whole lot of loss at the end of the season. So rain, great. We're never going to complain about the rain. The good thing is the frost came shortly thereafter and really terminated a lot of those crops that were trying to do a little bit of regrowing.
We also want to just mention cotton with harvest getting underway.
Yeah, so I'm not as familiar on the day-to-day activities of cotton. I know it has been a little bit behind for a lot of the season just with the cooler temperatures and the summer being cooler to start. And then it really caught wind and really got going the later part of the summer. Jenny's going to be a better one to kind of talk a little bit about the cotton, but I know a lot of folks are starting to get moving on cotton and starting to pull a lot of those yields off. So hopefully with these conditions and this weather, we can kind of pull the rest of this summer crop off and get really focused on our winter activities.
And let's touch base on canola planting. And you've been out in the field and talking with producers.
Yeah, I think we probably had a better setup for canola than we've probably had in the last several years. The last 3 or 4 years, we've really had really dry falls. And so with canola having that really narrow planting window, if you just weren't blessed with a little bit of rain at the right time, we struggled to get that crop up and established. So for the bulk majority of the state, when we got to that canola planting period, so that last week of September, that first week of October, we had some moisture hanging around, and then shortly thereafter we got those started to get some of those rainfalls. So I think we probably have a little bit more potential acres of canola than we've had the last couple of years, and the stuff that I've seen has looked really good. The challenge is that some of those crops took a little bit of moisture to get going, and what brings moisture is also weeds. So the moisture brought on not only the crop, but anything that was hanging on. Maybe it's our traditional weeds, like our grasses or our pigweeds or mare's tail, trying to make that one last grasp. Or it could be, I've heard some growers have corn the previous year and the corn started to germinate. Now the frost will take care of that, but so will it stop some of the growth of the canola. So it has to be one of those things to where growers kind of evaluate not only their canola crop, potentially their wheat crop, on what's good and what needs to be managed here in the fall and what could wait to be managed till the spring. And the weather is going to dictate a lot of that. Forecasts are kind of
Sure.
little foggy right now, but hopefully we have some time. If we have some of those conditions where we need to go out and manage those weeds, we have some conditions to where we can effectively do that.
What do you think the motivation is behind seeing potentially more canola acres this year?
So I think for the most part, the market has been promising. Again, it's fuzzy and it's kind of very unclear what we potentially will see at the end of the year. I think there's overall been that intent that we need to get that rotation going back with wheat. I think a lot of growers are, if you look back in the old canola days or when we brought in that canola, I think we're starting to see those weed problems get more and more. There's a lot more issues with herbicide resistant grasses. Maybe we had those same issues, but now we're aware of them. So I think bringing in that other crop with other chemistries, that way we can control some of those grasses and some of our most important crops is something that is continuing to bring in that canola. And maybe it's canola, maybe it's camelina, but a winter broadleaf is definitely needed.
All right, Josh, lots of great information. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.